When every part of us wants to run and be like, oh my God, she's exposing all these aspects. This is so hard. This is so challenging. I don't feel free. And we can stay in the fire as true spiritual warriors. That's freedom. That is true freedom, because we're no longer bound by our unresolved trauma, by our shadow, by our ego. Now we're answering to the higher calling of our soul.
Attractive energy that a guy can have is not being alpha, it's not being red pill, it's not being cocky. It is having daddy energy. Daddy energy is the most attractive energy and quality and essence that a man can have, because it's the perfect balance of confidence, protection, and safety. Three things that a woman will massively crave, especially in a relationship.
I have worked with hundreds of men through the years, and this is the biggest sticking point I have noticed with men in relationship to women. Men tend to be afraid of a woman's ferocity. So on one side of the spectrum, feminine energy is openness, it's radiance, it's loving. But on the other side of the spectrum, it is pure chaos and raw power. The metaphor I like giving to my masculine clients is the feminine is the ocean. She is all-powerful, all-consuming, gives life to billions of organisms, and can also kill you instantly. Now the masculine is the mountain that the ocean can crash against. And this is important. The mountain doesn't judge the ocean for crashing against it, or whatever waves of energy that the ocean brings it. The mountain just stands there, unperturbed, unshakable, unjudging, just purely witnessing.
If you're out and about on a date with a man and you catch him checking every other woman out, that right there is enough reason to disappear from his life and not talk to him again. If you want to end the date, but make sure to not talk to him again, because this is a man who is giving into his lust by looking at every other woman, and it's disrespectful as fuck, especially if he's with you. With or without you, it's disrespectful. But the fact that you're there and he's still doing it, absolutely disrespectful. And don't let nobody make you think it's a thing of insecurity or a thing of jealousy. You're just insecure. It's not about insecurity. It's about the principle of respect.
No man plays the victim better than the one who caused the damage. He'll dysregulate your central nervous system and then claim you always disturbing his peace, leaving out the part where he's the reason why you no longer have any of your own. He'll break your trust and then get mad that you always bringing up the past, when really you're bringing up his present day patterns that trigger the memories of the pain he caused.
The most powerful sentence a man can say to a woman is, I am not going anywhere. I am staying with you in the fire. Not when she's soft, not when she's easy to love, but in a challenging moment, when she's expressing her pain. That's when her nervous system softens, because now she knows he won't run when it gets messy. He's not just here for the pleasure, he's here for the real, the raw, the sacred fire. This is the kind of presence that opens a woman's heart.
The most beautiful gift a man can give a woman is to make her feel safe. Safe in his attentive solidity, to express her fears, her hurts, her love and her cares, and know that he will remain a solid, masculine container and listen to what she needs.
Hello my loves, and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be going over the 10 signs of a divine masculine man. So this is basically what a high value man looks like and the traits and characteristics that he embodies. So this video is going to be basically educating what real healthy, strong masculinity genuinely looks like. So this will basically help both men and women. So if you're especially a single woman, you'll know what traits to look out for when you are dating men and what traits to avoid. And of course, with men, this will be extremely helpful because you'll know what to inspire to not only help yourself, but also help cultivate healthy relationships. So you can avoid falling into really dark pitfalls and going down a very negative path that will ultimately end in suffering, regret, and definitely loneliness. So the first trait is he is protective. So this is probably the number one trait of a man in his divine masculinity, is he's going to be extremely protective. And this doesn't mean that he's going to be controlling or overly possessive or demanding or that sort of more toxic masculine energy. He's going to be protective of your emotional safety, your physical safety, and your spiritual safety. So it's not just a physical protection that most people instantly think of as soon as you hear protective. Is going to be, both, all in balance, because the emotional safety is so important, probably more important than physical, in all honesty. Every day he'll need to be in an emotionally protective energy. So this is literally linked to everything that he does, because that is what will really genuinely make a woman feel safe and more in her feminine energy. Because a woman cannot be in her full feminine energy when a man makes her feel unsafe. So if a woman can't trust you because you're being, lying, dismissive, avoidant, have a wandering eye, disloyal in any way, all of that makes her feel emotionally unsafe, which means she will not be able to be fully in her feminine. A divine masculine man understands this, and he is accountable for it. So he won't be only protective of his woman's mental health, physical safety, and spiritual safety. He'll also be protective of other women and other people in general. So he'll have a real sense of injustice. So he'll not tolerate injustice at all. He'll want to help animals or anyone, children. So if he sees any form of danger or attack on a more vulnerable person or being, he'll step in. So this can also be, just using his mouth. So it's not always muscle. It can sometimes just be his psychology, his intelligence as well. So men who are protective also holds other men accountable. So again, this goes hand in hand with protecting women and women's mental health and safety overall. So a divine masculine man will not have toxic, low vibrational friends that, basically are very negative or abusive towards women at all. They will not tolerate any disrespect towards the feminine. So again, they'll hold toxic men accountable. They'll stand up against that. They won't tolerate any form of disrespect. So they will also know that loyalty is so important. So they won't be friends with men who cheat on their girlfriends or cheat on their wives. They'll have a very deep sense of morality. He'll create a very safe space, create a safe container for his woman, for his girlfriends, for his family and loved ones. He'll be very reliable. He'll build a very solid foundation, a strong pillar of safety and presence. So he won't demand peace from a woman. He'll create it, because a divine masculine knows how to lead and create just with his presence alone, that, he can basically create that safety. And this is what, so many people bang on about, and what men really truly need to understand is your superpower is creating safety. And this is the number one thing that healthy, high value women, feminine women, always seek, is what they need for a healthy relationship to be stable, to be so secure. So this is what is the number one trait of every divine masculine, is protectiveness, being protective of everything. So number two is every divine masculine is sexually disciplined and loyal. So every man is in his divine masculine energy will know the absolute sacredness and power of one, retaining his seed, retaining his life force, but more importantly, the power of loyalty. He doesn't succumb to lust. He's so much more higher than that. So no masculine man, no high value man in his divine masculinity masculinity will ever be a porn addict. So he will not watch porn. He will not have a wandering eye, especially if you're married or in a relationship. He will not gaslight you into thinking, oh, you're insecure, because you won't lower your standards and allow him to disrespect you by watching porn, liking OnlyFans girls, liking Instagram pictures, being lustful, looking at other women, you know, when he's with or without you. He will basically live in an energy of loyalty and respect. And this means he does not have leaky energy. He's not going to be wasting and being leaky and giving his sexual energy to multiple women, because that is literally what it is. It's micro cheating. Because if you're cheating in your mind, it's the same thing. Because what divine masculines understands is when you cheat in your mind, that can lead to physical cheating. You are committing adultery on your woman in your heart. You have to be loyal from the inside out. Because how can you demand respect if you do not earn it? How can you demand respect from a woman and feel entitled to a woman's love and sexual energy and presence and all the gifts that she can give you if you can't even keep your eyes on her? Because your energy is limited day by day. So if you're literally wasting your energy, giving it to multiple people, it creates all these holes in the relationship from an esoteric point of view as well. Because you're literally allowing all this mixed, cluttered energy, which is going to taint the relationship entirely. Because all that energy that you're giving to other people, you could be giving to your partner. And if you're single, you could be giving it to your career, to your business, creating something that's actually worthwhile. Because whether you're single or not, it is such a huge waste of energy, especially if you watch porn and you're wasting your life force every single day. It depletes you, it weakens you, and it makes you more lower IQ, easier to control. It's literally such a huge weapon against men. It's insane. And I literally have done other videos on this, so go check that out. But every divine masculine has this awakening and he sticks to it. He's consistent with it. Because again, this is linked to creating emotional safety. So if he doesn't protect her emotional safety by being loyal to her, you're never going to have a healthy relationship. It's always going to be flawed. So you cannot demand that a woman be faithful to you, respect you, treat you like a king, etc., when you're literally disrespecting her every single day, when you're cheating on her in your mind every single day. It's the most damaging thing that a man can do, because it does cause brain damage and it can lead to really disturbing things that I can't even, talk about on here. I do dive deeper more on my Patreon about these types of things, but or go check out my older videos. But every divine masculine, he sees this. He accepts that this is a very dark truth, and he understands that his sacred sexual energy is so important to protect. One, for his sake, to keep his consciousness and level high and intelligent and protected, but also for the sake of his partner, for the sake of his marriage, for the sake of his children. His sexual habits affect every single person in his entire life. So number 3 is a divine masculine is a builder and not a destroyer. So basically this means that he is very supportive of pretty much everything that is, for his own greater benefit and also the benefit of others around him, in his close circle and also within the world. So every divine masculine, when they come into your life, they'll make you grow. They'll make you, reach your highest potential. Like a divine feminine will do, with a divine masculine, you'll be a great team together. So they won't be an energy drainer. Like I said in my other video about how men can siphon your energy. So with toxic men, they siphon the life out of women and they deplete you, they destroy you, they break your spirit, they destroy your life. A divine masculine will not do that. So a divine masculine will bless your life. When he comes into you, he'll make you feel alive again. He'll make you feel healed. He'll make you feel loved, heard, seen. He builds your confidence. He builds your beauty. He'll help you build, anything really. So, but he also does it on himself. A divine masculine will know the importance of not being in a self-sabotage energy. He won't destroy himself. So this will look like, he has a lot of discipline. This will look like, him building his health, building his body, building a career, a business, building his mental health. This is what helps him step into that leadership energy. This is how he earns respect. He doesn't demand respect. He earns it by living and walking the path. And this doesn't mean that he's just, a workaholic in hustle culture, obsessed with just making money. He has a much higher purpose than that. Builds, himself into his highest potential possible. And this looks like doing the hard things too. So he's not just purely going to the gym, purely earning money. He'll definitely be ambitious and working on those things, but he won't be doing it just for, superficial, gratification. He won't be doing it just to like show off and look like, some big guy. He won't be doing it from a place of ego. He'll be doing it from a place of real deep maturity. So this is what I mean. Like he won't just be selfish and hustling and purely one-sided with being just a workaholic or whatever. And he certainly will not be self-destructive in the way of like doing drugs, drinking, gambling, being very reckless, being unstable. They're not supposed to be in that chaotic feminine energy whatsoever. Divine masculines are supposed to be like the sun. This is why in esoteric ancient traditions, they always associated men with the sun. Women are associated and connected to the moon. Women have cycles. We're always up and down because we need to be. We're more connected to that spiritual energy. But with divine masculines, they're supposed to be that stable, strong sunlight. And when they are in that energy, they help things grow. So number 4 is he does shadow work. So every single divine masculine would have gone through intense rebuilding of himself. So again, like I was saying earlier, he builds on himself, but by being able to do that, he has to go through intense spiritual initiations. He has to go through intense challenges that he overcomes. So this looks like him overcoming his traumas. This looks like him doing very deep integration work. This looks like him wanting to be a better man so he can treat women better, so he can treat his partners better, his family, his friends. So he builds and heals himself so he can be better of service to the world. So this is what I mean. He doesn't just live from a self-centered, selfish, narcissistic way at all. He heals his own traumas so he can be a better man for the world. So he can be a better man knowing that that's what will give him fulfillment. So many men are lost nowadays because they're chasing all this instant gratification. They're chasing all these superficial, empty things that they think will make them feel good about themselves when it doesn't. Men in their divine masculines know and understand that the thing that makes them feel good, the thing that makes them flourish in their masculinity, is to be of service. And this is what they heal within themselves. This is why they heal their traumas and shadows so they can be of service, because this ultimately is what makes them happy. So this is what they understand, and this is why they try to live from a place of love and not their ego. A divine masculine heals his trauma so he doesn't traumatize others. So instead of projecting his darkness and traumas onto the world, onto women, onto partners, onto his children, onto anyone, he sees his inner demons. He acknowledges his flaws. And instead of just projecting or dismissing or literally taking it out on people and being abusive, he looks himself honestly in the mirror and he understands, right, I can't do this anymore. That needs to go. That needs to be healed. So he's very honest with himself. He rips off the mask of his ego. He rips off the mask of his trauma. And he is able to look himself very honestly in the mirror without suppressing or numbing his traumas either, because so many toxic males will numb all of it with drugs, with addiction, with sex, with porn, with all these types of things. And then that prevents them from ever looking in the mirror, from ever doing shadow work. So this is what's so important, that divine masculines know they have the courage. They're not cowards. They have the courage and the strength to look themselves in the eyes and really see what is holding them back. They see their darkness, that tainted auric fields that they need to banish, that they need to exercise, that they need to purge out and detox. And this is brutal. So this is what I mean, that every single divine masculine, like divine feminines, will go through intense, brutal shadow work so they can shed that layer, so they can remove all those blockages, all those tainted distortions, so they can flourish in their divine masculinity and be that safe, strong, protective, completely vibrant energy that the world needs. You know, because so many divine masculines think that they're in this energy purely because they understand, that we live in a matrix, and they have all this knowledge of conspiracies and whatever, or they're very spiritual. But that's not enough. That is not enough. That is just one layer. That is one layer. The most important layer is your inner matrix, is your inner demons, is your darkness. What are you projecting to the world? Ironically, they'll watch films like The Matrix and whatever, and they'll have this God complex and think, I'm like Neo in The Matrix, when they're not. They're more like the villain who wants to live in ignorance when he's eating the steak, saying ignorance is bliss, and he wants to live in that, delusional, pleasurable, distracted energy of watching porn, partying, drugs, whatever. No, like Neo lets go of all of that. He literally sheds that shell. He doesn't want to be a part of it. This is what divine masculines truly understand, and this is why they know they have to do a lot of very deep shadow work to undo all this patriarchal conditioning, to undo all this severe dark brainwashing, so they can get to that state. He understands that he has to have balanced feminine and masculine energy. He can't be too much in a toxic feminine energy, being dismissive, being emotionally unavailable, but then he can't be too in a toxic masculine energy either. So he has to find that middle spot. He has to be balanced with both. And only through very deep shadow work and then integration of that can he truly achieve this. And then that's when he becomes truly unstoppable. And number 5 is a divine masculine has a very open heart. So every single divine masculine, because he's done obviously a lot of trauma work, he doesn't live through his ego. He has basically been able, through all of that darkness, all of that initiation, to open his heart. So this looks like now he will see and hear, especially his woman's pain. So every single divine masculine will have the emotional capacity and the emotional intelligence and availability to now see you and hear you without dismissing your pain, without running away, without being avoidant, without being flaky, because he has extreme empathy now. So empathy is obviously the key to having an open heart. And this is why, men have to do their own inner shadow work and heal their heart chakra and open it, and realize that doesn't make them weak. It makes them fucking strong, because it is hard to do that. It takes a lot of strength to feel and accept other people's pain. It is brutal to do that because it fucking hurts. But when they do that, that's when they flourish. That's when they're able to be in such a strong, attractive energy. That's what will make every single relationship they have blossom. Because now, if a woman comes to him in a very emotional, chaotic, or stressed out energy, he can relax her like that. A man with an open heart will literally be able to relax your nervous system so easily, literally at a click of his fingers, to be honest. So this is what I mean when I said earlier that a man's superpower is safety, because he, instead of being dismissive or avoidant or whatever, he'll have such strong energy and emotional intelligence through opening his heart, being soft and strong, and assertively be able to calm you down, assertively be able to express his love and hold you and create that safety, or that container of safety again. So this is what I mean, that a man, he'll be able to calm down things so easily just by having an open heart. And this doesn't mean that he's a pushover or a nice guy. That's not what it means at all, because he will still have very strong boundaries. He'll be strong and assertive when he needs to be, but he'll always communicate in a very respectful manner because he has empathy, not apathy. You know, a man that has a very shut down, closed heart will never have empathy for you. He'll never acknowledge your pain. He'll be very, very narcissistic. He'll be really, really self-centered, dismissive, emotionally avoidant. And this can create so much pain and turmoil in people connected to him, you know, in extreme ways. And this is what divine masculines know. So divine masculines also acknowledge that the more they open their heart, the more they allow themselves to receive love. Because a lot of men, they're scared or don't want to open their hearts because they have no self-love. So this is why sometimes men who are really traumatized, who haven't done their shadow work, they will literally get triggered just by a woman giving them love, because their heart chakra is so shut, it won't let them receive any love. Divine masculines will never be ashamed or embarrassed to show how much they love their girlfriends, how much they love and respect their wife. They'll, you know, be like their wives and girlfriends, you know, biggest cheerleader. They won't be scared to hold her hand or kiss her in public. You know, they'll be very open with the intimacy and love and affection that they show. They won't be embarrassed of it, you know, in front of their friends or whoever. You know, they won't give a shit. They'll literally be, you know, that is a true Sigma strong male, is they don't give a shit what people think. They live with an open heart, fearlessly. So number 6 is he has a very confident yet humble and mature presence. So like I was saying earlier, divine masculines are not easily led astray. They have more of like a Sigma energy than an alpha energy. And all of that is like, you know, very misleading anyway. But what I mean is divine masculines, they don't care what other people think. They're very much their own person. They're very much in that leadership energy within. They're not loud. They don't demand that they have to be respected and they're a king and they're an alpha. They don't need to. They really don't need to. It's like they just ooze that within their aura. They ooze this confident, mature, masculine energy without saying a word. They literally live by it. So I guess a good example that I can use with this is if you watch the movie Ip Man and how humble he is, even though he can literally break someone's neck like that. So it's like a lot of, you know, healthy martial artists usually have this energy that I've seen with men. And I also met a man like this in real life where he was like physically so strong, but he had the most loving but assertive energy, pure divine masculine energy, without really needing to do or say much. So it's like they have this quiet confidence, and their presence alone oozes this healthy, assertive masculinity. So, and that in itself is what's so attractive, is because they're very mature, they're very grounded. They have this energy that just oozes safety as well. So it's like, you know, they're strong, you know, can protect you, but they're also safe to be around. You don't feel anxious around them. You don't fear them. You don't feel unsafe to be in their presence. Their presence alone, when they walk through a door or when they join a group or whatever, it instantly creates this bubble of like protection. They don't seek external validation. So it's like they can have such a smart, beautiful minds and still be extremely masculine. So they don't go around demanding that they be heard and listened to or whatever. They literally just speak from their heart. They speak truth, and that alone is what earns them respect. That alone is what makes their confidence grow. But, you know, so many men go around with low self-esteem and low confidence because they don't do shadow work. And this is why time and time again, I keep saying that is the key for both men and women. The thing that creates confidence, you know, genuine confidence, not fake, you know, toxic men, you know, seeking external validation, is when you actually face your inner demons and conquer them. So, you know, fake confidence is what insecure men will project. And that is, you know, them saying, oh, you got to be 6 foot and earn millions and drive a Bugatti, you know, to be respected as a masculine man, to be a high value man. You've got to go around shagging women and you've got to be above women. You've got to control and dominate them. All of that is bullshit. All of that is complete fake, you know, very insecure, toxic masculinity. That is not masculine energy. That is literally the intelligence, really, of like a 13-year-old teenage boy who has severe mummy and daddy issues, okay? So do not fall for these, you know, red pill alpha podcast type men. They are not confident. They are not high value. Even if they make money, it doesn't mean shit, because high value women, they cannot stand that. They do not go around wanting, you know, an Andrew Tate wannabe. They literally, you know, it's nauseating. It's nauseating. The only type of women that will go for men like that will be the ones who are very low value themselves, or just wanting to use them for their money. And that's literally it. And then they wonder why they get cheated on and that sort of thing. So it's like, it's both toxic. So it's like, you know, high value women do not seek that at all. So this is what men need to understand, that all of that is a lie. All of it is a facade. And divine masculine see that very obviously. They see it obviously and clearly. They understand the absolute, you know, nonsense and ridiculousness of it all. And they laugh at it, quite frankly. And this is what I mean, is like they have that very humble confidence. They're not easy to influence in a toxic way. So divine masculines are not impressionable. They have very deep integrity because they live a moral lifestyle. They do their shadow work. They have very high standards, very high self-discipline when it comes to everything in their life. So this is what makes them not impressionable by very low toxic males. And this brings me to number 7. So every divine masculine man, he will live a very high purpose. He'll be of service. So again, this doesn't mean that every divine masculine has to be some spiritual guru or whatever, but he'll live a purpose that is of that energy. So he'll strive to be of service. He'll strive to be in his higher self. He'll strive to do what he can to grow and to heal and to inspire others, to help others. And this can be in any job type, to be honest. So, but most of the time is they'll want to do something that's of healing. So this can be like, you know, the best example I can think of, ironically, was actually Steve Irwin. So beautiful man that we lost, you know, far too young. But he was such a good example of a divine masculine man. So even though he wasn't some old spiritual guru or coach, he was literally so devoted to his purpose, which was of, you know, obviously helping animals, educate people about animals, building sanctuaries and, you know, educating people about the planet and the environment and protecting them. And he had this passion, this drive, this discipline, this devotion. And he also treated his wife, you know, beautifully. She, you know, their relationship was beautiful. And this is why she never remarried when he passed away, because it's like, you know, divine masculines like that, they're not easy to replace. But, you know, fortunately, we can now see that in his son. So he's now taken his space and he's literally like, you know, a mini version of his dad. And it's so beautiful to witness. But you see that same passion, that same drive, that discipline that they have, but you know, it has this lightness as well, this beauty to it. So many men, you know, in this divine masculine energy, they have that. And it doesn't mean, you know, it can be seen in so many different ways, but usually it's of something to do with healing the planet, healing people, inspiring people, protecting animals, doing something along those lines. It can even be like, you know, being a lawyer, you know, working in the justice system. It can be, you know, so many different types of work. It can even be a house husband. Like, you know, men don't have to always be in those roles, those positions, you know, men who just literally show so much love, so much devotion to their family, you know, because we all go through different cycles and, you know, in life. So it doesn't mean that, you have to be a successful man, but you strive to do something like that. You strive to be financially stable, mentally stable, physically stable in all ways. You have this high purpose. But that being said, that does not mean that you have to be a multimillionaire. So a lot of divine masculines, they will usually go through some sort of awakening, or they'll just have this absolute beautiful passion for something, and then they use it, they channel it into the world. And it brings this beauty, it brings this healing on planet Earth that's so needed. Another one, other men that I see that do this is when, they go around protecting animals. There's a beautiful guy that I follow on Instagram that does this. He'll usually go to quite rural, rough areas like Egypt. And they'll go around, being animal activists. So there's so many divine masculines that are strong, passionate animal activists, because again, they have that open heart chakra. They see the injustice. They want to do something to protect them. They protect the vulnerable. Bring awareness to real darkness of this world. They'll stand against those things. So a lot of divine masculines, they'll either be extremely devoted and loving to their family. So they'll have more of a normal job, but when they're at home, they're doing it to protect and provide for their wife, for their children. They're still building that very stable home life. Or they literally have this purpose within them, and then they need to go and fulfill that. But whatever the case, it's being of service. So this can look like many different things, but it's not just, him going out to fulfill his own selfish desires. That's what a narcissistic man does. That's what a selfish man does. That's what a man who is very disconnected from his heart will do. All they care about is earning money, is their ego, is, doing things to get things. They live for pleasure, not purpose. That's really the ultimate truth, is a divine masculine man lives for purpose, not pleasure. And again, this doesn't mean that he can't enjoy things in life, but that is his ultimate goal, and he's passionate about it. And again, you'll see it because he genuinely cares, because he has an open heart, because he has empathy, because he's connected to that protective energy. So this is what he will project into the world. This will be his gift to the world. And number 8 is a more simple but very important one. And every divine masculine is impeccable with his word. So this means that you will not see a divine masculine man being a liar, being shady, being sneaky, being flaky, being deceptive in any way. Those types of energies disgust divine masculines. They hate it. And to live a life embodying integrity means to be authentic. It means to be open, honest, and not a liar. So divine masculines, they're extremely authentic, which means they do not lie to people. They're not shady. They're not going to be backstabbing or manipulative or whatever the case. He literally doesn't need to do any of that, because again, that's very much like a cowardice energy. You'll see a lot of men who do that are either very predatory, so they're grooming you. So a lot of the times this will be obviously men, grooming women just so they can sleep with you or whatever, or love bombing you, future faking you to then siphon off your energy. Divine masculines will never do that. They will never be in that predatory, sneaky, dark sort of energy ever. So this disgusts the hell out of them. They are literally impeccable with their word, with their truth, and they stand for truth. They live truth. So this is just as important to them as it is with a divine feminine. So this also creates safety and trust and stability in all areas of his life. And again, this is also connected to his self-worth, because a man with really so low self-worth will always be lying constantly. He will never keep his word. So a man who is impeccable with his words, he builds self-respect. He builds such a level of self-respect because he respects other people. So this is why he doesn't need to go around manipulating or grooming or being predatory in any way, because he literally understands that he doesn't need to do that. He literally is above all that shit. That's a very cowardice low vibrational, weak-minded way of getting what you want. Divine masculines, they get what they want by living a life of integrity and truth, because that creates trust. He earns trust. He doesn't demand it. You know, so many toxic men will demand that their women trust them, even if they've lied to them a million times, even when they've been deceptive, even when they've betrayed you. Like, loyalty and authenticity is so important to divine masculines. So they won't just outwardly say, oh, respect me, you have to trust me. They'll literally prove it to you. So this is what I mean. He's not just impeccable with his words, with his mouth. He proves it to you with his actions. If he says he's going to do something, he does it. So this will be like little things as well. So if you ask him, oh, can you fix this? Can you help me with that? He'll do it. He won't make you wait and be like, yeah. Like, he will listen to you. He will literally say and stick to things that he's going to do and literally show you that he's trustworthy. He'll show you that he does respect you. He does love you. He does want to protect you. So he won't just, you know, say any old bullshit and then later like switch up on you, be flaky and hot and cold. He sticks to what he says. And number 9 is he honors the feminine. So unfortunately, so many toxic men literally hate women, because a lot of the time they'll have this very deep wounding around the feminine, or very deep patriarchal brainwashing. So a lot of men is such a deep, you know, rabbit hole, and I can't get into it all, you know, in this video, in this point, because it's very deep. But a lot of men will feel, you know, entitled to a woman's energy purely for their own gratification, usually sexually. So a divine masculine does not view women like that. So again, this links to, you know, number 2, but a divine masculine honors everything about the feminine. He sees her, he hears her, he acknowledges you. So he'll never view women as like, oh, sex toys. He'll never view women as like, oh, a little trophy wife. He'll never view women as like, oh, just a mother role to like do his dishes, do his laundry and look after him. He'll never put women in that kind of slave role. So basically, he never uses, exploits or abuses the feminine. Ever. He honors her. So again, the best example I can use for this is like Gomez Adams in the Addams Family. He confidently worships Morticia, but in a healthy way. And, you know, toxic men will call men who do this simps. Oh, you're such a simp. Literally just for respecting and treating a woman that's not abusive. Like, that's how bad things have got nowadays. So divine masculine men, just any healthy masculine man, will see and acknowledge that they actually honor women. They respect and love women. They like women. You know, toxic men will literally try to brainwash other men that all women are evil, all women are bad, all women are gold diggers, all women can't be trusted, blah, blah, blah. They project that wounds, they project that toxicity on other men purely because they can't open their hearts themselves. It's all a projection of their own insecurity and low self-worth, trauma, or narcissism. But ultimately, no divine masculine will ever see a man treating a woman with love, respect, cherishing her, being like, you know, supporting her, saying how beautiful and amazing she is, as simping. Never in a million years. And as a side note, you know, a lot of men who do this are down low. So a lot of men who don't like women, who are very abusive, who emotionally abuse women, who see that, you know, they don't even want to be nice to women, or they're emotionally very avoidant, they can only have an emotional connection to other men, are actually gay. So just as a side note. And again, divine masculine see this and they call it out. I've seen men call this out before as well. It's not just women who know this. Like, it's actually insane. You know, a lot of gay men actually say this too. It's like, you know, why all these supposedly straight men saying that, oh, you shouldn't be loving or kind or romantic towards a woman? That's simping. It's like, well, go be with a man then. Literally go be with a man. You know, to be an alpha male, to be a strong man, you got to just, you know, ignore all women. You got to be abusive to women. You got to see them as just a, you know, a burden or a distraction or this or that. It's it's insane. So every divine masculine sees that psyop within society very clearly. He sees as an absolute joke. He sees that is actually quite gay to be saying that all these men just want to, you know, emotionally put other men on pedestals, that, oh, you can only be, you know, kissing the arse of another man. You know, because a lot of these men, they kiss the ass of other men as well. So it's like they put other men on pedestals, but then they want women underneath their feet. You know, a divine masculine will never in a million years emit that energy at all. They see how gay it is to be doing that. They see that it's a psyop to make you ironically more feminine, because you're literally worshipping only men. You're emotionally only connecting and wanting intimacy from other men, even if it's just, you know, emotional. So most men who are incel or red pill, you know, content type men are emotionally gay, or they're actually closet gays. And this is what divine masculines see and know, and they don't fall for it. This is what I mean with the other point. They're not impressionable to that. They see through it. They're understanding, you know, that's not right. That's a bit weird. So they understand and have the maturity and the emotional intelligence that obviously the majority of women just want to be loved. So the last trait is he embodies warrior energy. So this is basically what the dark masculine looks like. So much like what I say with dark feminine energy, men have dark masculine energy. And this doesn't mean that he's evil or oppressive or whatever, but he has this powerful warrior energy. So this looks like, you know, standing for truth, basically everything I've already covered, but he stands in it fearlessly. He's not a coward. He lives for his truth. He's disciplined. He's devoted, and he never plays victim. So he can acknowledge when he's being, you know, unfairly treated or betrayed or whatever. He takes action on it, but he doesn't play the victim. He doesn't stay in that immature boy energy. So divine masculines, they have very high emotional intelligence, and this is what it means to be like that warrior, because he's connected to his heart, but he's also assertive and strong. You need to have both, you know, because with liberal, you know, woke, fake new age spirituality, they feminize men too much. They make them too passive, which ultimately can make them too selfish. And then they're not protective. They don't create safety. It's so important that men, you know, awaken, are in tune with their masculinity, their strength, that primal energy, but also with their heart, also with their empathy and their softness. So they need to be, you know, they have to have that light masculine energy. You know, they're feminine, but they need to have that dark masculine energy as well in a healthy way. This is what makes them whole. This is what makes them their divine masculine. So the perfect man that I can use to explain this more easily for you to understand is, of course, Aragorn in Lord of the Rings. To be honest, a lot of the men in Lord of the Rings embody a very healthy masculine energy, but above all else, Aragorn embodies a very strong divine masculine energy. Why? Because he literally is a warrior. He fights, he stands for what's right. He's able to lay his life on the line for what he knows he needs to do. He accepts responsibility. You know, eventually he takes the role of being a king. He's accountable. He has to be confident, but at the same time, he has a huge heart. He's loyal. He honors Arwen, you know, his divine feminine. He protects her. He has this very beautiful heart. He cries. He shows emotion. You know, he's in tune with both energies. Every divine masculine will embody this, you know, gentle warrior energy. He will be like a calm warrior in a garden. So he has both in balance. And this is what gets so confused and wrong with both conservatives and liberals is they don't understand this. So with conservative men, they're way too far right. They're way too stuck in their toxic masculinity. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And of course, with the more woke liberals, you know, they're way too pulled into their toxic feminine energy, and they want to emasculate men completely, which again is so toxic and, you know, just so confused with all the other things that they do. So it's like, you know, such a confusion and a distortion, when really it's so much more simple than that. And this doesn't mean that, you know, outwardly men have to look a certain way to present themselves as a warrior energy. Or their dark masculine energy. Even gay men, even very feminine men who look feminine on the outside can be in that warrior energy. They can be in that dark masculine energy. And they're divine masculine. So again, it's like you don't even have to look manly, and you can still exude this powerful energy. You can have a very masculine aura. And even with, you know, like more mundane things, this looks like a man who doesn't give up easily. He's very driven, very assertive. You know, he won't ever weaponize incompetence. So it doesn't mean that he never rests. Of course, he understands the importance of resting, recharging. But again, he has a very balanced energy. You know, to be a warrior, you have to be balanced. It's so important. So this is what the traits of the divine masculine truly look like. I hope this video helps you. If you are a woman wanting to attract more of a divine masculine energy, then it's so important that you assert the boundaries within yourself. So go check out my new Dark Feminine ebook that helps you assert boundaries, that gets you more in that dark feminine energy. So you're far more likely to find a man that mirrors that with you, and also to banish and get rid of any sort of past lover, toxic soul ties with toxic masculines and that sort of thing as well. If you want one-to-one help, then I do have an oracle card reading service where I can give you direct guidance with anything that you're struggling with, especially if you are a divine masculine, or if you're having, you know, relationship issues or that sort of thing. If you want to access more esoteric knowledge and deeper truths that I can't share on YouTube, then join my Patreon, which is a members only membership where I post exclusive videos. So as always, that will be in the link in the description box down below. Please like and subscribe. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you're notified of my future uploads. And until next time, my loves, I'm sending you so much love, so much light. Stay strong, stay fierce. Ahimsa.